Hey, welcome everybody to today's episode of Yes, It's Legal, our Snapdragon Hemp podcast we've been doing now for a couple months. And Josh, and today with me,
Karen.
Yeah, our current warehouse director. She's had many different roles in the company. Started doing with events was the first, right? So from events to doing all kind of fun stuff with that to now being in charge of our warehouse and distribution and getting all our products to all the stores and intaking of all the products from our production facility and making sure everything's categorized and organized and all the fun things. So it's been a fun journey for sure. I guess we'll start with some of the cool things that you did as far as like on the event side of stuff. My favorite, of course, I'll just blurt one thing real quick that I like was the Sweetwater 420 Fest.
Absolutely.
Something like that was so fun. But yeah, I'd love to hear just kind of.
Absolutely. So started with the company in middle of 2021, and it was kind of up in the air as to what we really wanted to do. And I had a little bit of history with event coordination and doing conventions and just setting up like a pop-up shop was basically what the intention was to do, and just to get us out past the doorway of the store. That seemed to be a way that we could go out and see community, because a lot of people were just a little hesitant to come in the door. So let's get it. They didn't know what it was. They were like, this is new. Like, what does this even mean? So let's just get out where the people are. So I started doing that, like I said, middle of 2021, and kind of kicked it off. And literally as things would come across that seemed to be of interest, and hey, that is our demographic. That's our people. That's who we want to see. We try to get ourselves in front of those people. And one of probably the first largest thing that we did, like you were saying, was Sweetwater 420 Fest. So we hauled as much product as we could possibly haul to Atlanta, Georgia. And we were there for 4 days. It was a lot of work, but it put us literally kind of on the map a little bit when it came to events. Just the amount of people that we were in front of. You got to think that we were probably within the first 2 days, 85,000 people saw us. That's a lot of people. It's more than what our stores would probably see, collectively within a year. And so we saw them all in like 2 days. Obviously on a fun side outside of just having the retail shop, it showed us like how far we can go with this. What manpower does it take? Because it was kind of right out of the gate. It was a learning experience of what we could do, and to the magnitude of what we could do it, and how much manpower it took, and the coordination of getting that all done. And like I said, it put us very face to face with some big hitters as far as social media and influencers. And it went a long way as far as booking other big events and big venues, because they ask the recognition, because they're like, hey, what festivals have you done before? And then you just mentioned, they're like, yes, want you front and center. Like, it put us front and center on a much bigger platform. And it also gave us a catalyst and a want to and a knowledge and a preconceived notion of how we could then kick off what then has now become our biggest event of our own, which is 420 Fest. So it really was a launching, just a vault of situations that put us there to get us to kind of where we have gone in the last few years.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's so much knowledge gained from a group of people that have never done any of this before. Let's make it happen, because it's the passion that drives us or whatnot. So. Absolutely. The 420 Fest this year, that was so cool. I mean, thousands of people showed up to something that we put on, and it was a blast. It was one of those, it's like we've been a part of so many different events and festivals and Cannabis Fest in Chattanooga and stuff like that, and around even out in Memphis doing the normal Cannabis Fest years ago. So there's been some stuff that we've done, but whenever we did it ourselves, some of the most rewarding feeling was like, the other vendors that were there, we had many other hemp vendors around, and they were all like, this is the best one we've ever done. This is the best. Every food truck that was there, everybody just like, building something great for sure.
It's the president for sure that, we went through, and we had some learning, we had some learning curves that we had to kind of overcome. But when you see someone put on an event to the extent of say Sweetwater 420 Fest, or you see someone put on an event to the extent of Atlanta Pride, where again, we were in front of 120,000 people in Atlanta last year, like just boom. But when you work with them and you see what they do, you
right and wrong,
and you're like, I can take that and I can learn from it. So, I mean, even though it's not your event, you can see how it goes, and you can make all these changes and progresses. Obviously, this being the second year that we've done 420 Fest, our first year was like, let's just dip our toe in it a little bit. We got to see what works, what doesn't, and then from there, like you never want to go into something, especially as an event coordinator. You never want to go and stretch yourself to a point where you can't pull it off.
True.
I'd rather pull off something small than something large terribly.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of how we kicked off 420 Fest, and we just kind of dipped our toe in the water and saw the response, and then we took that and we quadrupled it the next year. Oh, yeah. We quadrupled vendors, we quadrupled space, we quadrupled, bands, we quadrupled food trucks. I mean,
the speakers, everything.
We 4 times that. So, looking at what we can do coming up for 2025, obviously the calendar is going to play with us a little bit this coming year. We've been very fortunate that 420 would fall on a very doable day, but we're shooting for a Saturday. 419 happens to fall out, so we're just a minute short, but that's okay. We're still going to pull it off, and it's going to be a great event, and we're going to bump it up again. We just keep bumping it up till we look like a 420 Fest. We do have 120,000 people that are showing up. We do have people coming,
from all around the South.
From all over. Yeah. It's, you don't want to throw like something as crazy out as Bonnaroo, but maybe, why not? Mm-hmm. It's doable.
Oh, for sure. That is one thing that Chattanooga, as we're doing the Dark Roast stuff, learning event people and getting to know who's the promoters in town and stuff like that. That is one of the things that seems to be really lacking in Chattanooga versus even like in Nashville, Knoxville, Atlanta, Birmingham. Of course, we're all bigger cities. But like just the idea of any event space or venue space, every one of those cities I just named have multiple different amphitheaters, multiple different arenas for putting on shows like Taylor Swift type ideas. But even on a lower level like that, there's this huge gap between, the Signal, I guess, would be the biggest thing that we have in town versus like what even the smallest thing in Nashville or whatever is. So just the venue they're getting together, the event stuff in Chattanooga seems to be a little behind. So
I agree, and it's kind of a shame because obviously we have dealt with songwriters in the Tennessee area and musicians in the Tennessee area just from our little bit of dabbing into this, and we have an amazing group of talented musicians that live and reside here. And I'm talking about we have magnet schools that are here in town that foster all of these things. We have some amazing musicians. And so to allow those people to drive.
Have to go. So if you want to be who you want to be, you will have to do it in another city. Oh,
you got to go 2 hours away. Why?
But there's the people here that want it. So there's some of the, hopefully with all these hundreds of millions of dollars they're putting in Broad Street, maybe they'll put in some type of little venue event space over there, because that would do really well.
Yeah. We've had some little pop-up things, and thank God that, some of even the, I guess you would say, small line venues have really stepped up to say, hey, this is lacking, but can we they're up in their game too. So, they're seeing it. It's on there. It's just trying to get, like you said, a space. You have this great musician come out, but, my capacity at this building is 45 people. Well, that's fun, but, that's not where the money is. The money is, they want that door money, and so, and, the booking money to be bigger and bigger and bigger. So, but you got to think, like, how many years ago, 10, 15 years ago, if you were a comedian, you could be at the Comedy Zone. Well, now you're selling out Madison Square Garden. That's just where you come, you know what I mean, as far as notoriety and that pull and that draw. A comedian would have never thought to book a venue as big as Madison Square Garden. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it just changes the perspective.
The scale of that is wild for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's cool to think though that there's definitely been all the successful people in Chattanooga, but hopefully they can be like the bands that we had at our 420 Fest this year. They were great for sure. was it went something this weekend? Was it Bessie went this weekend somewhere?
Oh, we went to Natty Lovejoy's was playing at Home Plate right here in little bitty Eastridge, just out of the blue. And that group of it's a family group, obviously, and they have other sit-in musicians that play, the background and studio and drums and that kind of thing. But the man, his wife, and his daughter are kind of the catalyst of that group, and they've been around the Chattanooga area for a long time. They're long-standing. They're a reggae-type band, and they played for us for our very first 420 Fest. And when we were, just at the Dark Roast, which is so funny that we've now turned full circle and came right back around, and now, we're operating that. But yeah, they were playing in Eastridge, and it was fun to see them. And they came up and talked to me, because of that booking. Hey, it's great to see you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun to to rerun into these people as you do other things. Just there for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, fun event stuff. All right, let's
switching gears.
Let's
How do y'all switch gears?
Yeah, let's switch gears to the warehouse idea because let's.
Okay, let's switch it. Okay, so how the gears switched. So we'll tell you how it actually switched, and then we'll get into the conversation of it. So it all switched with just wanting to make some life changes and some life balance with me. You have to understand, when I was doing events, I was gone and traveled from February to November. I was never at home, and I was constantly on the road. It was this constant process of just going out, which I loved. I met a ton of people, and I loved it. However, life says, hey, let's step back and let's do something a little bit different, and plug yourself into a situation where it benefits more than the whole. And that seemed to be the reason. So this position came open in warehouse. A little bit of background. I am a pharmacy technician by trade, and part of my job was inventory control. So I controlled inventories regionally. There was 11 rehab centers that were in the hospital chain that I was working for, and I worked to get our inventory numbers down. So inventory was something that was always at the forefront of everything, and so it seemed like that was the right fit. So then I jumped into the warehouse and just put in all new systems and all new processes in place to make it user-friendly. That's the best way to do it, and making sure that my stores were stocked and making sure that all of those needs were being met. And as influxes changed and new products came available, that we had those things readily available for all of our locations. And so that's kind of how the change in the switch came from the warehouse. Now, during that process, obviously, I think what you really want to get to is, now that we've got all of these processes in place, now what do? Well, you keep growing. And I quickly learned within about 2 months after I was there that I ran out of space. As you get bigger, you get better, and you move. So we are in the process of moving, so I'm very excited about that. As a matter of fact, I stepped into the new space for the first time today, and I can't even begin to tell you, it's like getting a brand new Christmas toy, and I'm ready to unwrap it and have fun with it. So that's exciting. So that's where we are with warehouse.
Yeah, a humongous new 10,000 square foot room.
Yes. Yes. And so myself and my driver, so you have to understand, we have about 13 locations, which include production and other facilities that we have to run to. So I don't know, Josh, you could probably put a piece number to it, but I would probably say somewhere amongst, I probably move 1,800 to 3,000 pieces of units of items weekly. Just me and one other person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's amazing that it gets done, but we do. It's a very efficient system that we use, and shout out to Tyler Abercrombie, because I know he'll probably watch this, but shout out, it just would not be possible without him. He's a great driver, and he's a good worker, and I really do appreciate working with him. So.
Oh, for sure. Because not only are you just delivering things, you're also intaking things. So every product that comes in from production has to come in inventoried and ready. So it's like you spend a day inventorying things, get everything ready, spend a day picking orders, spend 2 days doing deliveries, and just kind of spend a day.
And that's just product.
Not even doing paper. We haven't talked about doing the paperwork side of stuff.
Oh yeah, paperwork's a whole nother thing. But you got to just think. I have one I mean, if you can kind of visualize this a little bit, I have one warehouse room that is nothing but dosed product, meaning those products are made at my production facility. They are dosed items. That is one whole aspect of it. But then you have to go in. If you've ever walked into one of our retail facilities, we have stuff there that has, I mean, you need it there to use to use the products, but
accessories,
which we call hemp wares. So we have a whole nother warehouse room that's nothing but hemp wares. So every cup, every straw, every Puffco, every
the true
devices,
cups and straws, and
every little down to the napkin that you get at comes through us, you know.
Oh, the brown paper bags that say Snapdragon Hemp when you walk out of the door.
It all comes through my door. So all of that stuff so the amount of stuff that I intake from production is just it's a great bid. I mean, that's where the money lands. Sure. But you got to think I have a whole another third party system of things that we don't make. If I don't physically make it, it has to come from somewhere. So all of those things and those devices and those hand pipes and that pretty glass and these, lighters and papers and just all the fun accoutrements that you need to facilitate your use of our products still comes through that warehouse. So, but yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Have you got any? Let's hear maybe a funny or crazy story about something that happened. Not maybe. We can talk about the story of the drink related stuff later, but not.
Oh Lord, that's a good one.
Oh yeah.
Well, I will tell you just from a side note. It's kind of funny to me because Tyler and I, neither one of us, smoke any kind of concentrate or dab. So when I get products in that are related to dab related things or smoking wax or any of that stuff, I have zero clue as to what that thing is. I don't know what to call it. I don't know what to name it. I don't know I don't even know how to categorize it. So I literally kind of walk around, I open a box and I get this animal this thing out of a box and I'm looking at it and I'm like, so I literally walk kind of person to person to person of a staff of people that do and have been in the industry, long enough. And I walk around and I'm like, if you were to name this thing, it's like a new kitten at a humane shelter. It's like, what would you name this thing if you were to see it, So we have a fun time naming these obscure objects that come in. And sometimes they're, I guess the biggest thing is if you ever look at glass is all very phallic in nature. So we all have great names that we come up with glass pieces. So that's fun. That's probably the funniest thing that happens on almost a daily or weekly basis of these naming of things.
Random glassware things, stuff like that.
It looks like this because you have to understand the difference of.
It's not glass. You get glass pipe number 142. It's it.
Yeah. To them, what's that mean? So yeah, it is assigned a number, but I have to give it some kind of description so that when they read it on the order guide, the wordage of that has to note that's something that they already don't have or something that interests them to order it. So I have to kind of I got to give it some kind of description, which is fun. And it has to set itself apart from something else. It's just like it.
Yeah. Well, I like that. Oh man.
All right, so we're gonna talk about the drinks. Are you gonna bring the drinks into this?
Probably need to. It's a learning experience that somebody else needs to benefit from because I've already paid the price. So
maybe somebody will tap into the podcast and say, "I know exactly how to fix that."
All right. Oh man, the struggles with just some of the at the end of the day, the waters have always been great. We've never had an issue with any of the waters that we do. But as we've tried to expand into now 10 different formulations of drinks, 5 of them are water based, but the other 5 are soft drinks, energy drinks, your typical what you'd get at a gas station soft drink stuff.
Fructose thing.
Yeah. Exactly. And some of these issues that we've had with because we're not large enough scale to go. Coca-Cola is not going to bottle any of my stuff for me. I can't touch their line. Nice? Yeah, right. That'd make everything great. So we're going to the brewers and stuff. So
why wouldn't you move from cocaine to THC? That seems like sense. A logical jump.
Yeah. History repeats itself. 100 years ago, you did good. Remember what happened? Where you become the best. Let's do it again. Yeah. One of these days, they'll pick it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, just in the learning environments of CO2, preservatives. What does 3 months look like? What does 6 months look like? What does 9 months look like on a shelf? It's hard to do prolonged shelf lifetimes. We've done a couple you can send it off to a water analysis lab and they'll speed up the trial by like force aging it, but it's not always the best results have we seen because the proof is with some of these stuff,
environment is environment.
Yeah, exactly. So there's been a couple times where we've had we've said 6 months shelf life on it, and usually we get 6 months out of them. But so and so happens on this batch number 12 that randomly come up. There's a 2 month shelf life on it, and you find out 2 months in when all the stores have them and they're ready to sell, and customer buys one. This is what's happened now a couple of times. Customer gets one and says, "Hey, this tastes bad."
And you test it.
We call all the stores, everybody open up all your drinks, see what it tastes like, pull them back type thing. And that's, it's frustrating to do, but we've gotten good at it now. So, once somebody figures out there's a problem, we have the immediate solution in a couple hours, recall procedures and all that stuff, nailed down. But still a frustrating aspect about the shelf life stuff. So that's been some of my biggest, because as the warehouses and the stores, the drinks, you got to be in charge of, got to get the box truck, load them all up and go to the dump and throw everything away and all the paperwork associated with loss and all that stuff. So,
like no pun intended, but I have high highs and I have low lows when it comes to drinks. Almost slightly borderline PTSD when it comes to drinks, because it's like a sit and wait kind of thing. Again, yes, the waters have always been consistent, and we've progressed far. It's by far the cornerstone of everything, and we want the next level of drinks to mimic just how cornerstone the waters are. I can't speak high enough about the waters.
And that was one of the biggest prides about doing the water, because at the time, everybody that was doing cannabis stuff, and even our basic R&D, it would led us to our technology we developed today, is whenever you add something to it, you have to either go heavy citrus with it, heavy sweet with it, or use enough bitter blockers that it's citrusy anyways. So whenever we first developed, and this had no flavor to it, and it's THC and it works and it's fast and it's nano and it's like the best formulation we come up with, putting it in just nothing but THC and water into a drink, I thought that was like trying to set a standard. And it took so long for others to kind of catch on some of the flavor aspects. But even still, most of the stuff you go into a store, into a place, they don't get over 5 milligrams or 10 milligrams. And if you try one that is a 20 or 25, it tastes so bad that it's hard to drink. So doing that high potency, just water and THC, that's kind of like, all right, it's definitely the staple, the Cannabliss line, the staple. But man, it's just so fun. Before I come here, I had one of the dam waters that we do.
That's my favorite. And that group.
It's the best flavor. Like it's the idea of like ocean water or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's very refreshing, light, and there's no hempy aftertaste. There's no hempy aftertaste. Honestly, I don't think, and I'm super kind of sensitive to that. I've tried all of them. I will tell you that I am still a little too weary to try the 100 milligram Canna. It's probably not. It's just that's a little bit out of my comfort zone. I don't know how I would feel about that. Now, if I could, and I still dilute my drinks down into some kind of non-zero calorie, vitamin water or whatever. Make a mixer out of even the regular waters, but never got brave enough to do the 100. But out of that line of all of the drinks that we've made, outside of the waters, the dam waters, absolutely by far my favorite. And then obviously the calls that it hits for too, that keeps it local. The sturgeons, we love the sturgeons.
We became whenever we did the dam water, we became corporate sponsors of the Tennessee Aquarium. We've done a couple fundraisers and stuff like that for them. So it's definitely neat to have a goal towards something that's not just there's something behind it's neat for sure. So
I guess it's always been like if you go back and you kind of look at our mission statement, like when you started this, it was always to maintain local. Like we want to make it local. We want it to showcase what Chattanooga can do. And so far, everything that we have delved into, that's what it is to show off Chattanooga. I think, when you moved here in 2005, you just developed it, and this just became your home. And, you just haven't, you just embraced it. And I mean, there's a lot to be said about keeping things as local as we can. And it's the thing that when you go outside of the boundaries of Chattanooga and you promote the company, it is the thing that sets us apart, because so many other companies delve with California or Oregon or somewhere where there was some kind of basis where it was before.
Oh, sure.
And it didn't exist here before. And now that we do it here, it makes Tennessee look and thrive and just, I don't know, puts a bigger spotlight on it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest aspects just when it comes to our our business as a whole. In 2018 when we started selling to consumers on the streets and stuff like that, legally.
Literally.
Yeah, legally though,
Yeah.
So and getting the word out, and people had, 99.9% of people that come to you had no idea what it was, or had tried some THC free thing. And there's like, oh, CBD didn't do nothing for me. And it's like, well, there's, yeah.
That's not what you were looking for.
Exactly. So bringing the people what they're looking for in an effective market, and introducing to people just the hundreds of thousands of honey sticks we give out over the years to get people to try it and realize, oh, they got something good over there. So definitely one of the biggest aspects of kind of what sets us apart in Chattanooga. And the biggest goal of why do we need a bigger warehouse? We're keeping up with everything that we're selling now, but we want a bigger warehouse because as we grow, what does Knoxville look like? What does Nashville look like? And being able to keep up with production on those, inventory on those as we build a basis here and expand there, and then maybe hopefully open up warehouses as well there, because delivery.
You have to have a hub.
You have to have a hub for sure.
You have to have a hub in between, just because it's labor, it's driving, it's on being on the road. It's a safety issue too. So yeah, absolutely. Like it's definitely something that's on the horizon. And I think that's always been, kudos to you for, in 2016, even delving into and trying to discover that you could even do this, and just being on the forefront of always like, yeah, I understand, I learned how to do this, but now the next thing I want to learn is to do this. And then the next thing I want to learn to do is do this. So, I have to say, like, bravo to you for having a set of vision. And then, hopefully as we grow and change, that we underskirt that vision with the amount of people that can then execute the vision. Because you can't execute all of those things yourself. There's a bazillion working parts that make we do every week doable.
Oh, for sure. Especially, we have Chattanooga under control and we're good here and this works and it's a flow. But it's not to say there's not problems. There's problems that come up every week. And we have to learn them, overcome them, do better at them, improve, don't make the same mistake again.
Right.
But then as we go to like kind of trying to do another city, when you lose a little bit of that control, because it's not these same people that are here every day, it's training new people and getting everybody on board. It's definitely a worrisome experience. But I believe if done right with all the knowledge that we've gained, I think it'd be great, just because there's so much stuff. And one of the reason we got into this, or I got into this years ago, is first time in 2016 time went around, and CBD's legal, it's everywhere, and I tried it at some like Nutrition World, a couple of different places in town that are highly respected with everything that they do, and it was just not what I was looking for. So then you started making it myself, sharing the love with other people, and it was cool that that Tennessee kind of stood out, because they were one of the states that had their own hemp grow program. So Tennessee had Department of Ag program for growing hemp. And then as we came along later on, 2018, 2019, they started doing the extractor license, manufacturer license, producer license, along with their grow license. So the Tennessee Department of Ag, between 2018 and 2022, had every single thing set up by the state of Tennessee that Colorado did for their marijuana and California did for their marijuana. But the difference was, instead of it's marijuana, it's hemp. But we had similar guidelines as we were going toward the direction of full regulation and stuff like that. So it was neat to see Tennessee. Just when you start looking at the rules of what Tennessee is allowable and how we could do it, it was like, well, here's the regulations that say this is how you do it and this is how you make it work, and you follow them and it works. Versus Alabama and Georgia and Kentucky and all these other places were like, follow the federal guidelines. We don't have regulation over it. And then, there's so much controversy between the states and the ups and downs, and a lot of the stuff that's happening like in Alabama and the Carolinas and Georgia and stuff like that right now. It's odd to see, because it's just a matter of time before the state comes in and does something, because they're not set up for doing it the way Tennessee's doing. So there's some nervousness about that, but being solidified in the state of Tennessee we set the rules is definitely exciting. But yeah.
Well, kudos to our farmers in Tennessee, because they were one of the main ones that pushed for that, because they saw the potential of what it could do. And
Mm-hmm.
like
In 2018, Tennessee had more hemp farmers in the state than any other state had.
yeah,
Set the record for all 50 states. So that was big for
it's
sure.
fun to see. But at the same time, like, if you don't keep that on the down low, guess what? Your other 49 states says anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If we can grow, potentially, if given the freedom to do so, we could outproduce every other state.
Yeah,
combined.
Oh yeah, a lot of potential in the
Which is fun.
Southeast for sure.
Just fun to think about. I mean, if it ever, if they would, if given the freedom to do so. So kudos to the farmers for sticking through it and wanting it to be done right, and going through the growing pains of things that other states are seeing, but they've already done it. They've already dealt with those things. So that's so kudos to the farmers.
But wouldn't that be cool though? As because it's only a matter of time, just a few more years from now, there's going to be some of the best growers in the Tennessee mountains are going to start doing in legal way, registered and good to go, and all those type of things. So it's hopefully we can push that to happen quicker than.
Yeah, like I said, if you've never taken a drive, and I mean, I'll encourage you to get out and visit your state. If you've never driven the Fertile Valley, that kind of stretches from just north of Chattanooga, all the way up Cookville, Crossville, Smithville, all of that area there. When I tell you that they grow every single plant that you can find on the face of this earth, I'm telling you, if you go to Disney and there's a tree growing there, it came from Smithville, Tennessee.
Wow.
You can go to Japan. The Japanese maples that are actually in Japan came from Smithville, Smithville, Tennessee. So, I mean, if you've never taken that tour and gone up there, it's worth it. Now, don't go if you have allergies, because literally you have every allergen that you could possibly name. But it's a cool venture if you just want to get out in the car and take a drive.
Shout out to your favorite nursery.
Bert Driver is my guy. So, known him. He's a 5th generation farmer that's out in Smithville, and has a great operation out there. And listen, if you need some kind of cool plant for your yard, I mean, he's your go-to guy. He can get you. He can tell you. You can tell him what temperature it is at your house, how much shade. Take a picture of where you're putting it. He can put the right plant there. And I promise you, if anybody could kill a plant, it's this one. And I have yet to kill the plant that he sold me 2 years ago.
That's cool. Yes, so doing some events up there at their
yeah, absolutely. He does. He has a great tap room and nursery up there, outdoor venue. He also has a great indoor space that's very mimicking of kind of the origins of how the Opry started. So that's really, really cool. His grandfather was the one who maybe great grandfather, actually is the one who started the Fiddlers Association. So fiddlers from all over the world assemble in Smithville, Tennessee, and have the Fiddlers Association big conference that's there, and your best fiddle players in the world can be found. It's really cool. Yeah, and if you're into country music, if you know Aaron Tippin, or if you know John Anderson, they're both from Smithville, Tennessee. So there you go. There's a couple of names. A little name dropping.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, definitely been a fun journey with all the crazy things. And you came into the warehouse position as our warehouse wasn't as solidified whenever you came in. So you've had a lot of things to
a lot of things to learn, and a lot of things to change, and a lot of things to make things workable. You can't work efficiently in chaos, so you calm the chaos and you move on. But that's okay. That was just, I compartmentalized. It's just who I am. That's who I am as a person. So it was absolutely my joy and pleasure to go in and rearrange every bit of it to make it what it is today. Yes, exactly. As a matter of fact, that, like I said, it was like walking into you get this floor plan. Like, I know there's probably a lot of people in the audience that have built homes, and like, I don't get a perspective until I see like the finished thing. And then you think, oh, I know where to put this and this and this. And you just get like you're kind of jumpy. So when I walked into the warehouse today, I was like, I know exactly where I want to put this. So it was fun walking over there today and taking pictures and just getting a plan in place of like, okay, it can look like this now, but in 3 months, I want it to look like this. In 6 months, I want it to look like this. In 1 year, I want it to look like this. So
future plans as we grow and all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. just because we'll have the 2 warehouses now. I went and looked at a forklift today. Same guy we got that one from in the spring. So we're planning out like the drink delivery stuff.
Y'all
so
pray for me. I've never driven a forklift before, but I mean, not really. Well, I guess you really have to pray for me if I'm driving. You don't need to pray for everybody else. That'll be fun.
Get you some training.
Oh, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Or you leave it to the professionals and you just sit back and just do what you do. So that's fun.
Well, yeah. So all the cool, exciting things. But every day something new, so it's always cool. But definitely glad you come on the podcast today. Yeah, we might look similar. It's my mom right here.
I am Mom.
Yeah, I forgot to introduce her.
Yeah, we didn't even say that part, do we?
Yeah.
Well, we don't normally lead. Yeah, we don't normally lead with that. Just because it just, I don't know. They may think that I have some kind of inside secret and on whatever's going on. I don't. I very rarely know what's going on. If you spend any time with this kiddo, you would know that I typically get everything at the end note of everything. But I have to tell you, just on a personal note, like I could not be more proud of all of the things that Josh has accomplished, and it's been a lot of work. People often ask that do know that, about the business and that kind of thing. I would never in a bazillion years want to own a small business. Obviously, we've gone past the technical small business of it. I would never want to do that. It's just the amount of effort and the amount of energy and the amount of time and the amount of consistency and the amount of forethought and the amount of it's just ongoing and ever going. And I just, kudos to you for thinking that would be a thing. And I mean, I remember when you came to your dad and I'm going to do this thing. And we're like, what? And we're like, okay. Because y'all have to understand, like, Josh always came to us with ideas. Even when he was tiny, he would come to us with ideas. I'm like, hey, I want to do this thing. And we're like, okay, let's give it a try. And we would just give it a try. And I don't, and if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, we moved on and we learned something. And then we moved on and we did something else. And so he was just kind of, I guess, always kind of had that behind his, he was fixing cars in our driveway at 15. He couldn't even drive the car to test the car. I mean, people would drive him cars to fix cars, and he couldn't even drive it to test it. So we would have to go out and test the car because he couldn't even legally get on the road to drive a car. So that was fun. And then, like I said, to give this a whirl after, obviously, if we had time to share the story, the trauma that Josh went through when he had his accident, and we all just kind of made it through that. It was just like whenever he had any inkling to do anything, we're like, yeah, just because we were just like, you're alive and we want you to do whatever it is. And so when he came to us and he wanted to do this idea of working with him, we're like, well, that sounds cool. Okay, maybe. And then he literally started with a booth that was probably if you can tell the scope of this table. Literally, the booth was probably the size of this table. Like, no joke. Mm-hmm. It was the size of this table. And he had two little displays sitting on the table at the East Ridge Flea Market in 2016. And then it just went out the roof after that. So,
yeah, all the fun stuff for sure. Yeah. The early ons.
A lot
of crazy learning. A lot of at home in the basement, in the closet. And it was
that sounds a little serial killer. That doesn't sound suspicious at all, does it?
So my first extraction stuff was in the closet because
Well, you have to. Well,
yeah. So vacuum pumps make noise. You're doing stuff. You got to purge things in the closet. Yeah, it's great.
There'd always be some kind of what looked like Dexter's Laboratory kind of stuff going on in the house, and there was like odd colored juices running through tubes and going to other things, and you're just like, well, and I'd go to his dad. I'm like, you think he's gonna blow something up? He goes, nope. You just make sure your house is insured and just hope for the best. But yeah, it was fun. But how cool was it that the name of this place could have been like Butterfly Cannabis Co. if we just lived on the wrong street,
That's
right?
right.
So we, like I said, we lived on a street that was named Snapdragon. So that's where the name came from. And then
Yeah, I was the amount of times like I did a lot of online sales in high school. So when I was like 16, 17, 18, just like taking phone calls for delivery packages or orders or whatever. And the amount of times over the years I give somebody my address
Yeah.
and like probably I don't know 3 out of 5 times they would always say, "Oh, it's a cool street name." And just after the 1,000th time I heard that, I was like, "Yeah, that's a cool name."
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we
How
literally
does
could.
Google come up with Google? What the hell's a Google? I'm like Snapdragon.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Then you see the connotation. I mean, obviously we deal with plants, so that's kind of cool because it ties back to that. And then, if you've ever seen a Snapdragon pod, the flower pod, it's a skull. That's kind of cool too. That's kind of kick ass, right? So, it all worked out. But again, it could have been Buttercup Cannabis Company. I mean, we were one street up from Buttercup, or it could have been, all the streets that were in this neighborhood were named after flowers. So it could have been, it could have been, I don't know.
I forgot some of them.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been anything. It could have been Peony Cannabis Company or something. I mean, there's just, but it did. It just.
Well, no, it wouldn't have been because nobody would have told me it was a cool street name.
That's true. That's true.
How
Right.
do you spell that?
Yeah.
I hate that. No,
Hate
that's
Misspelled. Yeah.
yeah, that's the worst. It takes my some of your business and something like motorworks
you.
spelled with an X. It's like what the hell? Okay, Google, and it's like we don't have that. That's the worst.
Right. I guess at that point, I guess it would have just been Manning Cannabis Company or something. Everybody would have
Maybe.
recognized that in Tennessee, I guess. I'm
Yeah.
sure you get that question.
Yeah, well, that was another question you get growing up 100 times: is
Tennessee.
street names cool? Are you related to Peyton Manning?
Yes.
You know,
And then you just, after the 100,000th time, you're like, yup.
Yep. 17th cousin.
Yes. Twice removed,
Uh-oh.
whatever,
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be worse. I mean,
Come up with some crazy elaborate story that just has yeah.
Yeah. At least you got to keep that one, So after, Josh's stepdad, didn't go through it. We didn't do a name change or anything when Josh's stepdad raised him. Great guy. He's a local business owner as well. Here in town. And it could have been Notes Granola. It could have been Cutchins Cannabis Company. That's a lot of C's.
A lot of C.
Could have
Triple C.
the Triple C Cannabis Company. Could have been a thing. Now that's kind of cool. Not the worst. If you want to just do a spinoff, that would work. So that's
I think there's not Cookville, but Clarksville. Is it? Maybe it is Cookville. There's one of them. It's a Cookville or Clarksville Cannabis Co.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We sell drinks.
Cumberland Cannabis
Cumberland. That's what-
Cumberland Cannabis because
Cumberland.
it's in Cumberland, Tennessee.
That's it.
Cumberland Cannabis Company is a wholesale distributor, and they actually procure cannabis products throughout the Tennessee area from multiple sources, and they distribute as a wholesale distribution company. But yeah, great. They're a great company. They've been fighting and been around as long as we have, and so they were actually probably one of the very first wholesale companies that we had outside of the city of Chattanooga. I actually met them in Smithville of all places and at an event and just made those connections. That was the other thing. I mean, we didn't really touch that on events. One of the things, not only were we getting in front of a customer base, we were getting in front of potential wholesale clients.
Oh, sure.
And it opened up all of these things.
So many people that have just the had and just tried and done stuff with other folks or tried other things and seen the difference or whatever. And it definitely that's the biggest aspect about it is these people that don't know there's thousands of brands out there doing something. What makes them different? What sets them apart? And it's like, well, it's that one that somebody put in your hand and you tried it and you fell in love with it.
Right.
So it's
and they were willing to talk to you and educate you and tell you about it. A lot of companies don't have that basis to it. And so knowing where it comes from, how it got to be that thing, when you saw it go from a seed to that thing sitting in that bottle that you're holding in your hand and all the steps in between it, that speaks volumes. You know what I mean?
oh sure.
So that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, definitely learned as I've always dreamed about wanting to have to make everything myself, and that took until 2019 before I made everything myself. But in the
just a mere 3 years, no big deal.
the 2016, 17, 18 was I was learning, but as I would need raw goods and materials and stuff like that, having to outsource them and purchase them, and just the amount of times that you would get something and you'd order it from the same person, and then every fourth time it would be different, and just you send off something for lab analysis, and what you've done time and time over again, improve the point, and it's wrong and it's inconsistent, and I quickly realized, well, that's what's happening to everybody else that's not doing it this way. And it's, the inconsistency in products, and it's just so easy to happen with distribution chains and stuff like that. So it's a big shout out to some of these folks doing stuff the right way, because they're hand selecting and saying, hey, this is stuff that we know is good. We put our name behind it and stand behind it, versus just the distribution rep that sells stuff to the gas stations or whatnot. It's just such a huge difference in disconnect. And that's the biggest thing that, the people that know, they'll never buy stuff from a gas station.
You're right.
That's not even a question. Buy something from here? No. Wouldn't do that. But then the people that are still like, they've not got to know better, learn or whatever, so. Yeah.
Oh, the trust factor. Yeah. Well, it's just, you delve into something and like, there are people that, like I said, your long time people that have done this, and they knew about it and they understood the process. Like, they're going to go to the people that are talking their talk. You know what I mean? Like, when you're sitting there having a conversation with someone who has smoked over a long period of time, or does extractions at home, or makes their own baked goods at home, or does the processes, and they've done it at low scale for themselves, just for their own personal benefit.
But they know what's up.
And you're talking the same talk, as compared to someone who's just rando off the street. It's like, I don't know, the box looked cute.
Yeah, here's the numbers in the bag. Maybe that's what's in it. Yeah, maybe.
Hopefully. I mean, that's your hope is that, or you do this try and fail thing, and you have a lot of people that have been burned by.
Oh, so many people. Oh, it came in the store and it's like, I've tried it and it's never worked for me. And, but it's hard to get those people in the store.
It is.
Because it's like, well, they've already, wasted $100 or more on trying things. I mean, it doesn't take long to add up. You try,
and just that sense of failure too. You're like, I've tried this, and why waste the time and the effort, or God forbid you were to have gotten sick or something, you know what I mean? And just, I don't want to feel like that way again. I don't want to feel like that. So, so it's hard, to convince them, and, you just tell them increments, and, and then I've never, I said, when I wasn't a born salesperson, I'm not a salesperson, but I will tell you that when I started this business, thinking that I wasn't a salesperson, I tell everyone that I work with in the retail world, because I still dabble in the retail world too. I don't sell anything. I tell you about it.
Yeah.
Once you try it, I don't have to sell you anything. You'll be back.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you that, and I don't have to sit here and tell you that, oh, I'm the best, or I don't have to downplay someone else. And sometimes you get this backbiting thing amongst some new players in the game or whatever. I don't have to do any of that. I just tell you what it is, tell you what's in it, tell you how it came to be. I tell you testimonies of people that I've seen that work, and the thing that you're telling me that you want it for, I've already talked to 100 people that had that exact same problem that you just came in here with. If it works for this 100, it's going to work for you too.
Oh yeah.
And so that's kind of where, kind of playing back to my pharmacy technician thing, is that I know these disease states. I know this medication that you're on. I know this thing that you've been going through. I understand the side effect of that. I can talk you through those things, so we're back to talking the same language again.
Yeah.
And what it feels like.
The connection game between somebody like that. Once you're both on the same level, it's like, it's complete understanding. Yeah, for sure.
Even if they're not, a classic stoner, or they don't do the thing. You don't have to be that.
Oh, there's a ton of products in it that has no THC and want to get you high, but you'll feel great. So yeah,
absolutely.
Something for everybody.
There is literally something for everybody, and that has always been our goal. Is that it's something for everybody. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're, 21 and you're going back to college, and you have anxiety, and you have all of these pressures and the things that have happened because you're a post-COVID kid, and you're things that go on with that. Or if you're on the other spectrum, you just retired and you've got, a bazillion aches and pains going on, or you just want to, for lack of better words, and I tell people all the time, like, sometimes you just want to turn your give a shit off. Turn your give a shit off to, like, maintain some mental health and then get a new perspective. Very much worth it.
A good reset. Yeah.
Just everybody needs a reset, You don't have to, you don't have to go on vacation.
Yeah.
To go far.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it in. Like, the reset idea for sure. Because some things just weigh on you, and then it's like, you get tired of it, but it's hard to break some of the cycles. It's like, yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, it's freaking life. You've got, you've got a lot of political tension going on. You've got a lot of changes that have gone on economically, and there's just a lot of things happening right now that people are, are tossing about and having to deal with. And so,
oh, sure.
sometimes you get a reset. That's okay too. That's what I use it for. Like I said, I've been very fortunate, and I mean, we don't want to tell Josh's age, but because if I tell you Josh's age, then you're probably going to try to guess my age. So I'm not even going to go there. But I don't really have aches and pains. I don't have those things. But I do want to detach myself from those pressures from time to time. And I don't need to be on some kind of, long acting sleep medication. I just want to sleep really good right now. You know what I mean? I don't want to have some crazy side effect with liver issues or kidney issues or whatever God forbid, sleepwalking or whatever else gets involved with some of these things that are out there, just being from the pharmacy world. I don't want any of the pressures of that. I want to sleep really good. I want to sleep good because I've got to get up and I've got to do 500 other things. And then when I think about I got to do the 500 other things, guess what? We got something to help you do the 500 other things without feeling like wonky and eye jitters and heart palpitations and increased blood pressure issues and increased heart rate.
Oh, sure.
We have stuff that will get you through needing the energy without the negative side effects that all of these things that are already on the market that give you energy that they do to you. So, so I think that part of it to me is just a cool aspect.
Yeah, I like it for sure. Yep. Well, it's been a fun podcast.
Yay!
It's been real fun. So,
are you telling us that we have to go? Oh. I thought he was going to give us like that 10, 9, 8 thing to count us down. Oh, we have not. Oh, okay. Now he's telling us. Okay, well, we can fill it. Let's see. What do we want to talk about? Coming up. Couple of things coming up, like locally as far as like event stuff. Obviously, the big cannabis festival that's going on in September. That's kind of fun. October is huge for us. So as big as April is for us, there are certain times of the year, even when I was doing events, don't talk to me in the month of April. You will never see me the entire month of April. That's just, I'm gone. You won't see me. Still exist, even though I'm in a totally different role. You still won't see me in April. You want to plan a trip? Don't call me in April. The next month that hits us hard is October. October's huge for us. Not only are we involved locally here with Chattanooga Pride, I think we mentioned earlier in the podcast that we are involved with Atlanta Pride. And we're actually, because of how much we've grown in sales, we are now considered a corporate sponsor.
Yeah.
That's fun. So that puts you in a whole nother category. It puts you more in the thrusts of things, so to speak. And it puts your name on all the fun little things. And so being a corporate sponsor is really kind of fun for them. And again, over the course of not only, we're not just always on the ground present during, it's a 2-week process with Atlanta Pride. Marketplace wise, we're there for 3 days. But the other 2 weeks, our name is on every single thing. So they reach somewhere along the lines of over 250,000 people that will be involved in a multitude of events over the course of those 2 weeks. Just in the parade alone, which is the second day of market, there's close to 50,000 people that march in the parade.
Yeah.
So they line up at between 8:30 and 9 in the morning. They're not done until almost 3 in the afternoon.
Wow.
It is unbelievable. Last year, I was just on like the end trail of the route because you kind of hear the announcement that, hey, we're going to start. So you have to be in your place, lined up. So kudos to anyone. If you want to go to Atlanta, this is actually a service. If you want to earn a little extra money, they have placeholders. So a corporation, say like Humana, has placeholders, and they pay people to go out at 9 in the morning to placehold because you don't start walking until 1 o'clock.
Wow.
So they pay placeholders to hold the space, and then when the real people get there, they switch out.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Who knew that was a thing? So that was gonna.
Yeah. What a cool way to make some money when you're already going to be there having a good time, Yeah.
So there's placeholders. So if you want to think about it, you just get with Atlanta Pride, and they can hook you up with a volunteer kit to do.
That is,
to do. There's multitudes of things you can do, but I thought that was kind of the coolest thing I'd ever heard of before in my life. They literally they get the corporations like Humana, and there was several others. Several of the banks that are there in Atlanta. They even give you like a like one of their like corporate shirt, like a team shirt, like, like they're
you actually one of theirs,
and you're standing there in your little team shirt, and you just stand in line. I mean, you're gonna stand there for 4 hours. Like the people that work, they just swoop in, right before they start walking.
But then the people that are standing there, they gotta go to the back.
Well, no, they just hop into the festival.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's around the festival. Piedmont Park is where it's at, so huge area if you've ever been to Atlanta. And so they do. You got to think vendor wise. Geez, I would probably say that vendor wise. I bet. I mean, if you just want a good time to go like see some product and see stuff, like something to do, like it's something you literally can spend like all day just walking the vendor. So they do 7. That entire park is ringed 5 times. So there's an inner ring.
Okay.
And then it just
row tent springs lined
rings all the way around. Yeah. And then you get to
sounds like the energy between like 50,000 people, just like that'd be so cool.
I'm telling you, I never. The guy that used to do the commercials where he could speed talk, and tell you all this. He could tell you like an entire thing, and like that's what I felt like for 2 days. I talked to the point I actually there was no saliva. Like it was nonsense. Like I've talked to so many people. So, yeah, I mean, you're just turning and burning as quick as you can. So we're going to slow the pace down a little bit this year because, being our first year at Atlanta Pride last year, I wanted to like showcases, which is always fun. And I like doing that. And I wanted to color coordinate everything and do all the fun stuff, I'm like, it's a party, so you want this party atmosphere kind of thing. And so this year, dull it down. We're doing drinks. We're doing 5, 10. I mean, it's 5, 10, 15, 20. I got to go. I got to move. We'll worry about ringing it in later. Like, this is like, you can't process and talk and get it all done fast enough. You know what I mean? It's just boom, 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 boom. Processing a credit card takes a couple of minutes, and like I've got 18 people in line. Like my line was backed up. I mean, I had 40, 50 people waiting on. They were just waiting in line, and like, when I'd see a group, I'm like, y'all all come under the tent because I'm going to say this one time and we're going to walk on with it. But Chattanooga Pride's kind of that same way too. I've enjoyed working with them. This is the 3rd year that I've worked with Chattanooga Pride, and people show up, and it's fun. It's a great atmosphere, and we're very supported by them, and we've always supported them as well. So it's been a very symbiotic relationship that we've had with them, which then is what catalyzed us to go to Atlanta, because we actually got invited to go to Atlanta because of the Chattanooga. Nice. Yeah, so that's fun. And then obviously we got some local talent this year that's really, 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 really pulling in some Chattanooga talent that hopefully we'll see on TV.
Yeah.
Secrets. I'll let them tell that secret. That's not my secret to tell, but yeah, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Heck yeah.
But so that's fun. Let's see what else. Warehouse. Okay, vehicles. Let's talk about vehicles.
Oh, you also do all the vehicle registrations and tags and but I've always mechanic stuff. I've always been a mechanic in the background. I've always liked vehicles. Maybe not some of the best vehicles as far as reliability standards are concerned, but maybe some of the best reliability standards, but not as much as miles go. But it's the variance. Some vehicles have 50,000 miles, some have 350,000 miles, but they're worth upkeeping. Some of them, right?
Some have wheels.
Some have
some have engines. Can't be too picky or choosy, at least in this world. You know what I mean? It's a diamond in the rough. Let's just say that. Yeah. So Josh has a tendency to bring me a lot of diamonds in the rough, and then I have to like squander to try to find paperwork to make them legal and make them registrable and insurable and operational and all of those things. But
all the fun lost title paperwork.
all that. And, we've been somewhat unfortunate a couple of times. That, and I mean, other people in this area have too. We've had vehicles stolen, and it's a mess to try to, you know, recoup that kind of thing. But anyway, that's the bad side of it. The fun side of it is like, I mean, I literally could probably drive a different vehicle and no one would ever know who I was about every day. I'm in a borrowed vehicle right now, but so that's been fun, and all the ladies at the DMV know me, so I'm a huge hit down there. So I have a career if I ever leave the company. They've asked me to come and work at the DMV. So I mean,
Tag title, yeah.
Tag title knows me. They know me hard, and like I know the rules, and I know what to do. And they're like, you can just sit here and do this. But they wave at me when I come in the door. They all know me.
I went last week, and Stephanie was at the counter. Whenever I pulled up one of the tags, I give her, and she's like, "Oh, you're Snapdragon. Oh, usually your mom comes in here, or whatever." I thought that was funny.
Yeah, it's and they all see me kind of out and about from time to time, and they're like, they know who I am. I don't recognize them because they're out of place, but they always
there's eight of them.
Yeah, there's 8 of them, but I don't but they recognize it. Like, oh, you're in Dang. And so it's fun keeping up with that and the maintenance of it, and making sure that they're where they need to be, and just operational and all that. So that's fun. It's just a mere I think we're up to 12.
Yeah, I was gonna say 12.
I think we're up to 12 vehicles that I have to keep maintenance records.
I think one or two of those is a trailer though, but yeah, it's
hey, I still got to know where it is because somebody's going to ask for it.
Got a tag on it.
So it has a tag on it, and people are going to say, "Hey, I need to borrow the so and so." We're very fortunately, and I guess that's one of the things that not a lot of employees do. Like we've had to use these vehicles sometimes because we have an employee that's in a bad spot. They're a trustworthy employee, and they need to get to work too. So I mean, part of that's ensuring that they get to work, and so we've had to loan vehicles out. To employees for temporary use, to get them out of a tight spot. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. Without a doubt. And we just sold had a Trailblazer I bought, and long story, but it was a third row seat Trailblazer with a 5.3, and it was the full drive. So it's kind of an odd, unique 06 Trailblazer, come with a flat top pistons, aluminum motor, stuff like that. So it was better upgrades on it was a badass car, right? Badass Trailblazer. I had like $2,000 in it, but I just we fixed it up last week. I had a Thaddeus. I have got new tires on it, put a new AC on it, and all that stuff. And he's been in a tight spot for a while, and he said like 3 kids in the last.
Seems like 7 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say 6 months.
Yeah. It does. I don't know that.
Like
I don't know that calendar wise it actually makes sense, but he has 3 children under the age of a year old. I don't know. I feel like we baby showered so hard.
Yeah.
For like, excuse me, didn't we just do this? But
yeah.
He's cute though. He's sweet.
Yeah, but for real though,
good going, Alex. Good going, Alex.
Yeah.
Team Alex.
But that was a good one for sure. So he's a great employee. He's worked his way up and helps our HR department now, stuff like that. So he was in just car didn't need it was small anyway, so he got rid of that one, and that was just last week he picked that up. So that was the most recent one, but it was one of the odd things. It was like bought it years ago. It was cheap, needed some work, and then our designer drove it for. Alan drove it for over a year. He didn't put but a lot of miles on it, but he drove it to Atlanta a couple times.
Yeah, he did.
And good old Chevy.
But I mean, helping out an employee that I mean, literally needs to have something you can put 3 car seats in like quickly.
Oh yeah.
That was a good deal.
Yeah,
that was a good deal.
Oh yeah. So
yeah,
fun stuff for sure from the vehicles, and then but then also the problems that come with the vehicles. Shout out to Kraus Automotive. Sometimes, they do good, but they're our Mercedes. Everybody's in the Mercedes Sprinter van. You see them everywhere. Everybody talks highly about the Mercedes Sprinter vans. Are reliable. I found one with 150,000 miles on it. It was a 2013. It was supposed to be before they went all to the crazy emission stuff. And man, 10 months in it, 12,000 miles put on it. Turbo shaft broke, destroyed. They showed me the picture of the turbo.
It looked like a garbage can.
Yeah, went off in the turbo. Oh, it was so sad. That's been in the shop now for a month. But
yeah, that's our main delivery van. It's the largest vehicle that I have access to. That's not obviously a lift gate like moving van. that doesn't seem like a feasible thing to move stuff in. But
That's
so so again, shout out to Tyler because he is the Tetris king when it comes to putting on something.
Full-size stand-up Sprinter van into our old delivery vehicle that we moved from, which was just a Transit 150.
Just a Transit.
It's great Transit. We got to crawl around in there, and so every time he comes to the store, he's crawling around the back on his knees, getting the order ready, going back and forth in the truck, and then it's
a lot. You can't stand up in it. I mean, he's over 6 foot. Yeah. No, you can't stand up in it, and like it's literally a Tetris. Like you couldn't put a piece of paper in the back of that truck when he gets through loading it.
Yeah.
So we do 2 deliveries a week. So we do a completed goods delivery. Are you gonna cut? You didn't tell me there was a clock up there to watch, but that's
there is a clock.
I didn't know one told us. Some information you should.
They've upgraded some stuff on their system.
Oh, they got fancy.
They do get fancy.
They got fancy. Okay, well, quick. All right, and then you can just cut it or whatever. Anyway, so we do finished goods, and then we do custom goods on Thursday. Well, custom goods. Now that we didn't even talk about the slushies, which is like the amazing thing about the drink.
And some slushy.
Slushies are out.
Yeah, so we've got slushy machines in almost all the stores now. So you can walk in, and especially on Saturday, that's the best. That's key topic right here. On Saturday, if you want the best deal you'll ever find in any of our stores or probably any other dispensary you'll get, is Saturdays and Sundays. We do the slushies for $6, and boom, $6. 50 milligram slushy. It's amazing. Except
for our lounge and our bars. Our lounges, our bars they're 25 milligrams, but those are daily, and that's it's just it just doesn't feasible to sit there and drink that all over time. But anyway, so I mean, you got to think.
We scaled up on
4 months ago. Yeah, my weekly order for slushies was 12 to 16 gallons, maybe 20 gallons. I'm slinging out 180 gallons this week. You know what I mean? Like that's leaps and bounds difference. So, but
and then the production crew as well too to make 180 gallons of 1 gallon slushy. I mean the slushy bucket, so they're in a gallon container, so the retail stores can easily pour. So 180 individual milk jugs of all this Kool-Aid mix that we're making. That's been so cool.
And then my driver has to load all of those up and then deliver and do the delivery route once again and make sure that they all get to where they need to be. It's been a logistics nightmare to make sure that everyone has enough slushies and to get them there. Because, I mean, it's bulky. It's got to be moved. So,
for sure. 160 gallons. It's like, 1,300 pounds.
And that's a week.
Yeah,
that's a week.
A lot.
It moves in a week.
4 Ford Transit.
4 Ford Transit. Anyway, but that's fun.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so I think the guy's telling us to wrap it up. He's going to cut her.
He's ready to go. No.
Looking very serial killer.
Well, it's been a great episode with Mom today on the podcast, and all the future progressions and stuff like that. And make sure to like, follow, subscribe, follow us for all the cool things we're doing. And if you have anything to discuss, we've been taking some comments and making little blog posts. The blog post lately has been cool. So some of the comments we've been getting back from some of the customers, stuff like that, doing blog posts about. So if you got anything to say, give us a shout out, and we'll see you next week.
We answer any and all questions.
Yeah, any type of questions. So until next time.